Is the Me Thee Coffeehouse. I am here with Bill Staines. How are you, Bill?
Good to see you.
Oh, delightful to be here. You know, I have listened to your music for a long time, but I was just fascinated when I read your book, The Tour.
Great.
And I just thought to give a sense of what was, going on with that. How did you, in terms of writing songs, what was the inspiration for writing a book, too?
Well, I was just having a kind of a tough time writing songs. I just really didn't have a whole lot to say. When I write a song, I always want to try and bring something of value to people. And there are sort of two stages. For me, there are two stages to songwriting. One is the conceptual stage, and then that's where what's the song all about? What's it going to be about? What's the point you're trying to get across? What is the song? And then the second stage is the craft stage. And this conceptual, and that's where you just sit down and write it.
Yep.
You take out your book and you write out the rhymes and so forth. The conceptual stage is really the toughest stage, and that's because it's like what am I going to write about?
The foundation.
The foundation for
Yep.
the song. Well, the conceptual stage for the book just happened. I mean, it just came to mind. It's a book about. It's an autobiography, but it's it starts out with beginnings, and then it comes to a point where I leave for my fall tour, which I've done for 28 years now. And then the book kind of separates, and you basically live with me for 6 weeks on the fall tour, day by day, and then every other chapter flashes back through the big life tour, and that just sort of came to me. I said, I could write a book and do it. So the concept was already there. All I had to do was sit down and write it. And the hard part was...
You make it sound so easy. All I had to do was sit down and write it. Here you are, a professional musician, and then, you put that on top of it.
Right. Well, and I approached writing the book a lot like writing a song. I mean, I would read paragraphs and go, no, I need 4 or 5 more syllables in this line. It doesn't quite, the line is ending too quickly.
Yep.
Or something. So it was a lot like writing a song, a big, long song.
Oh, it's a great book, and it's like I get to be a fly on the window, going along in your van as you're traveling along. So I thought it was just delightful.
The other thing about the book was when you write an autobiography, there are the possibilities for just having it be, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, are great.
Right.
What I wanted, and I was really cognizant of that, and what I really wanted to do was say, because I don't really think anybody cares about my life, but what I wanted to do was say, and then I did this, and I learned this, and then I did this, and I learned this, and
Yep.
So I think that's what's important about the book, because it brings something of value to people.
It does, and it's the thing for the music that you bring to the world. I think it's cool that Nancy Griffith counts herself as one of your fans. And I mean, how does that feel too? I mean, your songwriting, to my mind, these songs are crafted gems, and they stand the test of time. It's marvelous.
Well,
how does it feel when other people are covering your songs?
That's a relationship that is between those people and the song. I've often thought. Sometimes people will say, I'm a dancer, my dances are my children, or I'm a painter, my paintings are my children, and so forth. But when you think about a song, it's really true that way, because what happens is you write a song, the song is now in this world, you're the parent of the song, if you will. And if you don't sing it, if you don't nurture it, it dies. It doesn't go anywhere, it just, it's gone. And so you nurture it for a while, and then if the song has some strength, it begins to develop relationships with people, and after it grows for a period of time, then those relationships don't have anything to do with you anymore. The song has grown up, and
as the child leaves the house.
As the child leaves the house, and so it's like you have a child that grows up that becomes discovers a cure for some disease. Well, of course you're proud of the child; it's your child, but it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's
Right.
out there doing whatever it's doing.
You're the one that got the PhD, eh?
Right, and so. When I think about people doing my songs, it's really I'm glad that they can relate to the song and things like that. But it's really an individual thing. It doesn't have anything to do with me anymore. It's out there doing whatever it's doing.
Yeah. And I also find it fascinating too that you've gotten so many records out. I brought a couple of them over here.
I know
that these records though are out of print. You've got so many records that these are on the early side. I still have my turntable. I should tell the viewers too that we're in the inner sanctum here of the Me and Thee. We're in the green room where just the performers go. So running the camera here.
Right.
But, you know, to have these, and then to go ahead and have Old Dogs Now, that's a brand new record, is just great. It's marvelous that you keep, you know, making the music.
Well, you know, I have this little cabinet at home, and I mentioned this in the book. And it's when I was 17, when I started writing songs when I was 17 or 18 years old. And the way the poor man's copyright at the time, although it didn't really hold up, the poor man's copyright was that you mailed it to yourself, registered mail, and then you didn't open it, so there'd be a government stamp with the date on it.
Okay.
I still have reel-to-reel tapes that I mailed to myself when I was 17 and 18 years old. They're probably sludge right now, you know,
Yeah.
but they're there. And so that became, you know, I started, when I'd write a song, I'd put it in on a cassette tape, you know, and put it in this cabinet. When I released an album, I'd take 2 copies of the album and put them in the cabinet, you know, and so the only way, heaven forbid, that, you know, I mean, for flood or fire or something like that, but that cabinet can only grow, you know, and so if the powers that be came down and said, you got 30 minutes to live, family aside, you know, I could put a ribbon around that and say, I'm out of here, there I am, you know, and, you know, not many people are fortunate, not many people can do that.
Yeah.
You know, people are very, very successful, but what is it that, you know, who are they, really? And I could just put a ribbon around that and say, I'm out of here, there it is. I've been spending some time down in Georgia. My sons were going to school down there, and this is a song. It's called Savannah. It's a fairly new song. It's on the new album. Savannah, sing a song for me, that a lazy tune in a live oak tree. In my heart, you will always sunny southern girl. I watch your river slip away. Come follow me, it seems to say. Like Mercer's moon on a magic day, we'll be off to see the world. I can hear you Sunday steeple bells ring out the tunes that I know so well. Hear the voices rise and the praises swell neath the neon Jesus says. Beneath your blue and endless skies, the seabirds call, the time slips by. The shrimp boats leave on the morning tide and roll out across the waves. I was told sometime way back when, with your beauty bold and your pride unbent, you were given as a present to a president for the war around you swirled. Savannah, sing a song for me, that a lazy tune, live oak tree. You're older now, but you'll always be that sunny southern girl. Along your quaint and quiet streets, neath silver moss the lovers meet. Down flowered paths by the jasmine sweet, they step out across the square. Magnolia shade the old cafe from the burning sun at the height of day. I've been gone so long, now I'm on my way to Savannah, ever fair. I was told that sometime way back when, with your beauty bold and your pride unbent, you were given as a present to a president for the war around you swirled. Savannah, sing a song for me, not a lazy tune, live oak tree. You're older now, but you'll always be that sunny southern girl. You're older now, but you'll always be that sunny southern girl.
Oh, bravo. We're in the green room at the Me and Thee Coffeehouse with Diane Jones. Diana, it's your first time here, and I am thrilled to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah, this CD of yours, My Remembrance of You, is just great.
Thank you.
And to have, you know, the country album of the year, the Chicago Tribune, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, made me a little nervous actually.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's a great honor.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. when you do old-timey country music to be thought of as country.
Mm-hmm.
Because so much of what's thought of as country right now is contemporary country, which is more pop than the older stuff was.
Yep, yep.
So that they recognized that it was a country record was great, and of course that they thought it was a good one was even better. It was very nice of them.
Yeah, and I think your songwriting is really great.
Thank you.
You go ahead and you're able to, I don't know, pull something out, but you share it with us, and I want to go along for the ride.
Well, that's
So how
nice.
how does songwriting work for you?
Sometimes they come easily. Sometimes there's stories that seem to fall from the sky, and I just happen to be there to catch them, you know. And then sometimes it seems like they're hard won. It took a long time to actually appear.
Yep.
You know, I'll start somewhere and then kind of find my way. And
I gotta say too, I just love your voice.
Thank
And it's
you.
got this voice that comes, it seems like it echoes for centuries and comes over here to 2008, which is way cool.
Thank you. Thank you very
Have you always sung like this?
No. I mean, I'm sure I've always had a similar,
Yep.
you know, my voice is my voice, but I didn't really find this part of my voice and the sort of Appalachian tradition, which I love so well. I didn't really find that until I found my grandparents and my grandfather. So, and I was adopted, so I found my birth family a while back. And,
So that's interesting to me that music is genetic of some sorts.
I guess
Where
mine
other
is.
people are listening to something, you know, what we grow up with. I also love that Kathy has invited you over here to the Me and Thee, because even though it says country, it certainly fits into the scope of what I think of as folk music, and just marvelous to hear.
Thanks.
How did you, so you met your grandfather, you said?
Yeah, my grandfather, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, 13 cousins, 5 aunts, my mom.
How was that the first time you go to meet him?
It was the closest thing I've ever felt to being a celebrity, because I walked into a scenario where everybody wanted to know me and wanted to know everything about me, and it was just kind of overwhelming in the most wonderful way.
Oh, yes, because
They
if
were very
everybody
welcoming.
knew you from when you were growing up, they knew what you did in 8th
Right.
grade. They knew that you
Yeah.
got arrested for this, or they knew you did, you know, all the things that you find out with people.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, too, that to open for Richard Thompson, to be on Mountain Stage, you know, and be touring over in Europe, that's pretty good. It's a nice feather in your cap.
It was really fun. It's amazing. Richard especially. I mean, this year I've gotten to open for Richard and Mary Gaucher, and learned so much from both of them. I mean, they're both amazing, and you know, just to get to watch them every night was wonderful. And both of them very kind. You know, I have to say I'm very lucky because it's not always everyone's experience opening. You know, and I've had just people that have treated me so well. And
Some of
really,
my friends have said that with bands where
Yeah.
the person, you know, they sort of give you a nod and they go off in because they're the star and you're not supposed
you
to
never
talk
meet
so.
them, or you do
Right.
hardly see them, but not the case with either of them. Richard used to, in the evening when we'd be sitting before sound check, he would ask me if we had caterers and I was on a tour bus, and it was very, you know, posh and wonderful. But he would always make it a point to say, you know, are you sleeping okay? Did you get enough to eat? You know?
That's nice.
And I was like, Richard Thomas is asking me if I got enough to eat. I was trying to be really cool, but I was visibly
It's hard,
shaking
you know,
in his
because
presence.
I've gone to see Richard Thompson several times, and I mean, a couple times talked to him after the shows, and just a very kind gentleman.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Very nice. What a guitarist.
Unbelievable. And he gives every inch of himself every night, with a full band. And it was, I mean, we didn't have a break hardly. You know, there was like, I think 1 or 2 nights off on the whole tour, and it was like 3 weeks. And he was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, you know, it's inspiring to watch people like that and to see how they deal with being on the road and how they treat the people around them. I mean, it's really awe-inspiring.
Now, I wanted to ask for music for you. Have you always been singing your whole life?
Yes.
And then what brought you to say, you know, it's one thing to go ahead and sing in the shower. It's a whole other thing to say, you know, I want to do this on a stage. My songs, other people might like them.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long journey. I've sung all my life just out of instinct, I guess. And then in choruses, in church groups, you know. The church groups were great. I mean, it struck me when I was in England last week, and I was playing with my a guitar player, Bo Stapleton, who plays with me, he plays tenor and mandolin, and we were up there playing, and I thought, I'm doing the same thing I was doing at 14, and I love it just as much as I loved it then. You know, just just playing guitar and singing.
Yeah, but you know what I think is cool? You can love it as much, but you're so much better than what you were at 14 in terms of crowd, in terms of understanding, in terms of the stage flow and putting things together and such. Speaking of that, would you be able to do a couple songs for us here?
Sure.
You are watching Diana Jones.
Do you have any requests?
Oh, jeez, I love all of them. Let's see. I love My Beloved. For the folks listening, you can go to meandthee.org. So it's meandthee.org for the Me and Thee. Anthony Silva has got a whole history of the coffee house. We've got all the performers there coming up in the following months, so check it out. And there's a blog that Kathy has done, and you can find out about wonderful performers. This is just the tip of the iceberg here with Diana Jones. You can read about her interview that Kathy had done with her. So.
Shall I speak my beloved? Shall I speak of beauty rare? A face that shone like silver, a heart that shone like gold, a love as sure as wings of angels come to claim their children home. Shall I tell a sad, sad story of when my love I last did see? A smile that left me lonely, a happy day at sea. And now I see my sweet love only walking through my dearest dreams. Spring comes round with small white flowers, blooming lovely on the vine. And each year that I see them shining up at me like a love I thought would last forever, they soon will fade and cease to be. Oh, take me with you when you leave. Oh, oh, oh. Shall I speak my head? Shall I speak of beauty rare? In a face that shone like silver, and a heart that shone like gold, a love as sure as wings of angels come to claim their children home.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Me and Thee Coffeehouse. This is our 38th year of folk music. My name is Tony Toledo. I have been volunteering here for 19 years. And the reason that I come back is because of music like this tonight.
listened to a lot of Johnny Cash songs, and you know, I would say too many, but you can't. I think anyway, but I was influenced by listening to very many, and some old gospel hymns, and wrote this song, it's a little song about addiction.
Strangers come round no more. Ain't no vibes at my door. I should know I've seen my share. I should know I have seen my share. A host of demons have lingered there. I should know I've seen my share.
Again, I say this every time I play. I do a lot of songs with choruses in them. Don't be bashful about singing on the choruses. Dive right in there. As long as it's the same chorus I'm singing. We are crossing the water, our whole life through. We are making the passage that is straight and true. Every heart is a message, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness. We are crossing the water, our whole life through. We are making a passage that is straight and true. Every mark is a book, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness of the blackest night. Well, there is no shallow water, not above the gate. I speak from the dangers and the dawns of the deep. And with every breath within us, we search forevermore to find some peaceful harbor on that far-off shore. We are crossing the water, our whole life through. We are making a passage that is straight and true. The heart is a message, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness of the blackest night.
is a glory, for some it is a game, for some it is a story, filled with happiness and pain. And when rising winds ignore us, we search for steady ground. There is only that before us, there can be no turning around, and we are crossing the water, our whole life through. We are making a passage that is straight and true. Every heart is a blessing, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness of the light and night. For there is no other journey that will ever be the same, no second chance to right that will call you by your name. When the running waves wash over you, stormy winds they drive, keep your heart and soul singing loud from all your dreams alive. We are crossing the water, our whole life through. We are making a passage that is straight and true. Every heart is a vessel, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness of the black water. Oh, we are crossing the water, our whole life through. We are making a passage that is straight and true. Every heart is a vessel, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness of the blackness night. Every heart is a vessel, every dream is a light, shining through the darkness of the blackness night.
Here's your bonus for this little recording here, so you get $1. Yes, sir, there's wealth to be had here. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Bill.
Tony. Good to see you.